this work session of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that Councilman Pageant is absent. Everybody else is accounted for. So, first item you'll see in our work session agenda is to review the agenda of tonight's regular council meeting. So if you would turn with me in the big packet. Beverly sent out an updated agenda this afternoon, the only addition being the additional authorization of the mayor regarding the hangar agreement?
Yeah.
So it's the second agreement regarding the hangar. It's just an addition, the Covington agreement. So we'll get to that in a little while. So back to the beginning. So we're going to have roll call, opening prayer, pledge of allegiance, approval of the agenda, and then consideration of the consent agenda, which consists of the work session minutes and the council meeting minutes from January 3rd, contract billings to Wiregrass Construction for phase 3A, FY22 resurfacing. Anything to update there, Glenn? I assume some of this rain is going to slow us down over the next week. Y'all should be getting updates periodically from Glenn. I appreciate you sending those out. That's helpful. Poly Incorporated invoice for the same, and then Ewing Connor Associates invoice for the CDBG demolition project. And we've got some travel requests from administrative, E911, police department, fire department, and some, you'll see here, a list from Parks and Rec to dispose of some items and to sell other items on Gov Deals. You can come forward, Billy.
I don't think this will make a difference, but about 3 o'clock today, I talked to the contractor. He said on salvaging the bleachers, it's going to be impossible. Basically, they're going to break it down in pieces. So we feel like it's not worthy trying to put it on Gov Deal to sell.
Okay.
So we just want to move it to the disposal.
Do you want us to add that to the consent agenda? So
it's on there. The bleachers.
Oh, is it?
Yes, sir. The 6 bleachers that we have.
Where's this?
Yeah,
it's on
bleachers.
Gov Deals. Do you want us to add it to
move it
disposal?
To disposal.
That's what
if we can do that.
So
instead of
if everybody on your agenda could just mark that you got that, Beverly, we're going to move the 1, 2, 3, 4th item, which is
bleachers.
5th item, which says bleachers, 6 sets from Moose Hope Gym. We're going to move those to the disposal list, not to the Gov Deals list.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions on that, everybody?
No,
all right.
Thank you.
So then we've got a street closure extension. I assume that's what Stacy is here to talk to us about. Stacy, you want to come brief us on that? Miss Stacy Hayes with Navigator International.
We've had a tremendous time finding equipment because of all the great construction going on in our Wiregrass area. So because of that, we finally found a piece of equipment in Pensacola, and it'll be delivered Thursday to get down that tall building. So we need to extend College Street through the 27th. I've already talked to Pat Henderson, and Thursday we'll probably take down that tall building, so we can just have that one afternoon for Main Street closure, which he's already approved, and then we'll need the rest of that time to get the rest of the debris out, because some of that back wall is going to have to be taken down by hand because of all the utilities back there. So for hauling off purposes, we'd like to extend it through the 27th.
All right. Barry, we're good? Chief Moore, any concerns there? All right. All right. Any questions from anybody on that? All right. Thank you, Ms. Hayes. All right, then we'll have privilege of the floor and any staff reports we don't get to in the work session. Then we will move on to old business. First item being the Enterprise Multi-Purpose Recreational Complex Phase 1, which I know we're all excited about. We're going to get an update on that.
Mayor and Council, the bids, I think you got an email from me regarding that.
We did.
We're open last week, low bid and recommendation from Poly Engineering Inc. was to award it to White Sasser Construction. For
It was Beasley, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the other bids were received. I'm sorry. Beasley Construction at $3.9 million. That included an alternate for about $104,000 for irrigation within the bid. It was right on the money in terms of what Poly Inc. was tracking that to look like. However, based on when we borrowed the money, it was, outside of our original budget estimate, considering that we still have to do the other half or PV Park side of that complex as we envisioned it. I don't anticipate that, we're just going to need to monitor the other projects we have in the pipeline going forward, including City Hall and that project, to make sure that we stay on budget or can pull money from other areas to make that project a reality. But we're still under budget on a few items, over budget on a few, including street resurfacing. So I think that the mayor and I, talking with Glenn, support that recommendation to move forward with this project in this half and continue to go forward on bids on the other.
All right. Everybody should have a Joe get up of exactly a pretty good rendering of what we're talking about here. So, any questions? Anybody? Everybody still supportive of moving forward with this project? Glenn or Barry, y'all got anything to add on that? All right. Sounds good. Next item in old business is the public hearing that we had called for last month concerning the White Oak Ale House. This is, I believe, a change in ownership. So basically a reassignment of that license. Then we're moving on to new business, which first item being authorize police chief to award discretionary bonus payments. This is codifying something we talked about several weeks ago, right? Does everybody recall that conversation? Any questions? No change of hearts on that. All right. No changes to any of the facts that you presented a few weeks ago, right? Yeah. All right. Then we've got authorized mayor to execute a design agreement with Barge concerning the airport hangar. This was originally in our packet. Jonathan, you're going to bring us all up to speed. I know we've discussed this, I think, primarily in executive session over the last few months.
We have. I think you and Councilman Johnson were on a Zoom call that
Correct.
we had. So to bring the other council members up to speed, obviously we didn't want to violate any sunshine laws or anything like that. We have been talking in the strategic planning format about speculative buildings and trying to build capacity. We have a lot of interest both at the airport and our industrial parks. Particularly at the airport over the last year, we've seen an increase in people looking for hangar space. Our current situation with T hangars and other lack of available hangar space at that limits our capacity to increase the business operations at the airport. So the T hangars might take in small aircraft, but up to a certain size, we have no hangar space available. So with that, we started looking at what our options were. We have a pad that was started some time ago in a project never developed at the airport. Roughly about 130, 140 feet by 100 feet pad in that range.
It's just a dirt pad.
Just a dirt pad. It's got some parking around it, but it's been leveled. A lot of the site work's already been done, and that's what it was planned for in the AIP, the Airport Improvement Plan. So we looked at what the cost would be to design something, reach out to Barge, our airport consultant, to see what those costs would be. Came up on the design side, depending on if we went with classroom space, which we're not sold on, or office space, I guess, around that facility, either or, but having some interior office space or exterior office space could push that number up to $280,000, not to exceed. We think for the hangar portion of that, it'll be about $170,000 or so to design the hangar. In total cost about $1.7, $1.8 million to construct the facility. So that's what we would be engaging in, and authorizing the mayor to go forward with Barge is to design that facility. Subsequently, enter into an agreement with Covington Electric that would allow us to fund that mechanism, or a funding mechanism to fund the hangar, where we would get approximately 4 years as a marketing arrangement to have that financed at a lower interest rate through the electric cooperative, for a period of up to 4 years. Once we get a tenant or secure a tenant in there, then payments would begin back to Covington Electric. And then at the end of the 4-year term, we would need to secure our own financing. So that's kind of in a nutshell, the process we went down, based on your priority to find more hangar space or speculative building space, whether it's a hangar out at the airport or a building at the industrial park, to try to continue to grow our industrial base here in Enterprise.
So very similar to the Alabama Power Program, and that the Covington Electric would provide through Power South, provide the funds to build the building for a period of 4 years. It'd be no risk to the city. If we find a tenant, they come in, they start paying. After 4 years, we refinance, but the lease agreement would theoretically fund the debt payments.
That's correct.
So as long as all that works out, the city doesn't cost the city anything.
Correct.
And y'all are confident that that we can backfill this space.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always risk. So there's risk if we build it, nobody will occupy it over the 4-year term or pay what it costs in terms of a lease payment. And that's happened in other places in Alabama. In speaking to the representatives from Power South Energy and Covington Electric, I think they were in approximately 23 speculative buildings that they've done throughout Alabama. All of them except one is currently occupied over the last 5 years. So the program has a good track record of success, and the interest that we've seen at the Enterprise Municipal Airport, we've had no less than 4 commercial tenants ask about space that we don't have right now. So a lot of those may move on and find space somewhere else. Some of them may still need space by the time this hangar would be constructed. So I think that the odds that we could secure a tenant are high.
Yeah. Any questions on that? Primarily Eugene and Sonia. Like Jonathan said, Scotty and I were briefed on this last week. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very similar to other deals we've done, and y'all have been briefed on this. Still comfortable with it? Yeah. Scotty, I know you had said you were. All right. So both agenda items here, the Barge Solutions and the Covington Electric agreement are related. One of them's to authorize the mayor to enter an agreement with Barge for design services, and the other is for the mayor to enter into an agreement with Covington Electric for participation in their spec building program.
That's right.
Right.
I will point out, thinking back on what you said, it will cost the city, I believe, the agreement 75%.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
The city will be out 25% into the agreement.
If we don't find a tenant.
If you don't find a tenant, that's right.
Does everybody understand that? It's the 75-25. So approximately $400,000.
Right. In that,
$450,000.
assuming the bid would come back in between 1.7 and 1.8. That's our estimate right now.
All right. Okay. And we do need to approve that tonight to get it to Covington Electric's board so they can get it on their agenda, right?
Correct. That's why it's on the agenda tonight. Covington Electric's board and for their end, Power South's board would meet at the beginning of February. We won't have another council meeting prior to them meeting, and kind of time is of the essence on getting this project moving.
Yeah. All right. Next item is. Y'all good to move on? Next item is to authorize the mayor to execute mutual aid agreement with the U.S. Army Garrison Fort Rucker Fire Support. Chief Davis, did you want to brief us on this? Looks like a fairly standard mutual aid agreement.
That's exactly right. There's nothing special about it. They requested to update as we do quite often. Just like the mutual aid agreement we did with the state not that long ago. Not everybody is going to be involved in that. And obviously we've used Fort Rucker's assistance multiple times just as we have attempted to give. So I'd like to see us continue.
All right. Any questions of Chief on that? All right. Thanks, Chief. Request permission to purchase scoreboards from Parks and Rec. Billy, this is a budgeted item. So this is a budget item. Billy's anything to add that's not in our packet here? Any questions of Billy on the scoreboards? All right. So I guess that's a sort of the way you got this pricing was off of a bid list.
That's for a total of 3, so it's under 15,000.
So it's
3 individuals.
Gotcha. Doesn't have to go through the normal process.
Right.
All right. All right, and that concludes the agenda for tonight. Any additions? The only change we're going to make is to slide those bleachers from the list of sell on gov deals to the items for disposal. Rainer, since we changed that in work session, we've all changed it on our agenda. Can we just adopt it as submitted, or do I need to specify? Yeah. So we're moving. You got the agenda in front of you. So you see at the bottom of the first page, Parks and Rec sell on gov deals. You see first page.
I'm sorry.
The next to last line says bleachers 6 sets from Moose Hope. We're moving that from the last list, sell on gov deals, to the next to last list that says items for disposal. We've all made the correction on our agenda. Beverly's made the correction on her agenda. Do I need to explicitly state that when I ask for the motion?
That the agenda had been so changed?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think I would.
Okay. All
I
right.
think I'd make it clear.
All right. I'll make it clear. All right. Any questions or concerns on that? All right. Let's move back to the work session. Jonathan, you can give us an update on our fourth quarter goals and projects update. So we obviously don't have our Q1 yet because we're meeting next week on that.
Sure. So last year was very successful in terms of the goals that were outlined by the council for the staff to work on. We have 3 that I marked on our sheets that were pushed into 2023. Those are the comprehensive plan. We did not finish it, but we had a draft in that you all heard and reviewed. It's still on track to complete here in 2023, depending on a few things and what we would consider complete. We obviously have the subdivision regulations and zoning that go along with that look like it'll be later in the summer before those are complete. But the comprehensive plan in and of itself should be done here over the next 60 days or so and to you for adoption. Secure tenant for proposed speculative building. Obviously we don't have a speculative building yet. The resolution that you have on your agenda tonight is one step towards that. We obviously need product to be able to secure a tenant. Otherwise, if we don't have a spec building, we can't get a tenant. So if you move forward tonight, I would say that goal is well underway. And then it's up to our economic development folks and others in the city to secure a tenant. And then a go no go on the pickleball courts. You received authorization. You approved authorization for the mayor to enter into an agreement with McKee & Associates on that at the end of last year for the design. At the next council meeting, we have been working with the president of Enterprise State Community College to get a memorandum of agreement. So our city attorney and the two-year college system attorney have been going back and forth on that memorandum of agreement between the city and the college for that space where the old tennis courts are. I would expect that agreement to come before you for authorization for the mayor to enter into that agreement at the next council meeting. From there, it would just be a matter of, the design being complete, bid it out, and then, whatever the funding is for that. And then you would authorize or say, hey, this is too expensive, we need to do this. But that agreement right now calls for 8 pickleball courts, if you remember the kind of the master layout, with an opportunity to go into a phase 2 that could expand it up to 16 courts. So, and that's it. The rest are complete.
Yep. So what we'll do is we'll take those that weren't complete. We'll throw them out for discussion next week. And of course, it sounds like we're in process on the vast majority of them. So we'll just move them to 2024 and move on. But I think y'all did an excellent job with everything. I think it's to be expected that sometimes we're going to underestimate the time frame it takes to do certain things, and some things just aren't going to be feasible, such as the 5700 building 5700 idea that we have. So I think overall, excellent job. We'll look at that in more detail next week. Any questions of Jonathan on our Q4 goals and projects? All right, we're right on track. Well, actually, we're ahead of schedule. So
there's a notice on there for project updates, and we have with us some folks from CC Litchfield here with us. So I'll turn it over to Barry Mont to brief on City Hall update.
Thank you, Jonathan. We one of our projects, of course, is to look at City Hall, and as you notice, you don't have the air conditioner on right now.
I did notice.
What we found out over the weekend somehow is we have got another electrical problem where both HVAC units are out, the chiller's out, and the boiler's out. So timely for a discussion about doing City Hall renovations, but building built in the 60s, and the electrical system in this building is original to that. Very few modifications there. There's been a couple renovations to the chiller, boiler, and some of the HVAC, but the building has definitely served a useful life, for the past 60 years. So one of the projects that you asked us to look at was to come up with a possible renovation program for City Hall, and we've done that. We've got 90% set of plans that were submitted in a week or two back. The architect is CC Litchfield out of Dothan, and we've looked through their set of plans and given them comments back. And in general, I don't want to take any of their thunder away, but basically the plan is to take the police department and move them downstairs where they occupy the whole bottom floor of City Hall, then move everybody this downstairs up, which is basically engineering, also tourism, and Main Street's also downstairs as well, to move them up. And I asked CC if they'd come tonight. They've got a little video kind of walkthrough like we did at the rec center, so you can kind of see what we have come up with. I'd like to get your feedback. Do you like the aesthetics? Do you like to see if you have any questions? We are on schedule to bid this project February the 9th. So we've got time if you'd like to make some changes to this, or hey, would you make sure you consider this? We did in the video, just so you know, we kept it to what the public sees. For some security reasons, we didn't want to go behind the curtain and show office space, especially in the police department. So we left it kind of the public going into those areas. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Raleigh Price with CC Litchfield and let him walk you through some of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate the chance to be here tonight and the opportunity to serve you and do this project. As Barry said, just a very brief overview of just how I plan to walk through this tonight. We'll start with some high-level stuff on the plans just to break out zones of how we reorganize some things. We'll talk a little bit through phasing about how we will still utilize this building while renovating it and maintaining construction schedule with that. And then we'll end with the video that kind of walks through. That's the pretty video part that's a little easier to understand than these plans. I know these plans can be difficult to look at on a TV screen in black and white, so we won't linger on that too much. But just to orient everyone, of course, in this bottom right corner, this is the courtroom. over in this area. This would be where we're sitting at the moment. So one of the major focuses in terms of the reorganization of the plan was as you come into the facility to have very clear points of entry. Right now there's multiple points. We wanted to, we're still going to have 2 points, but we're eliminating that center point. You can come in from either side. The restructuring that will take place will put all of the very public, high-level interactive functions right here off of this central lobby corridor space in the center of the building. So that will relocate your functions such as water board, all of their tellers, your revenue tellers, and the engineering department. All of those will be right next to each other, have very clear kind of spaces that when on a busy day, when they queue up and have a line, organized, structured space so people aren't just spread out everywhere in the lobby. Behind that, of course, some administrative offices behind that. And then over on the left, a restructuring of HR and accounting in those spaces. The main public features that we've really worked hard to integrate into this area is a community conference room type space that for certain events and with certain approvals is located directly off of this main lobby. That would be a new amenity that does not exist currently within this space that can serve on a functional level day-to-day workplace meetings for any staff in the facility here. But at the same time, of course, if there's an outside meeting that they don't have community space to gather in, they could book that and coordinate it and schedule a time that they could utilize that space. So a new amenity that would not be currently available in this building. As we move around over into the wing that we are currently in, there will be a portion of police that the more administrative functions of police will remain on the upper level where they are right now so that they can function with other city administrative features that are on that level as well. We will be integrating throughout all of this design a high level of access controls that does not exist in the facility at the time. So it creates a necessary separation of public and private for certain functions so that the public knows very clearly where they're allowed to go. We want them to feel very open and to be able to utilize this building. But again, this has users such as police in it, so we need to be very mindful of that and the features that they have. The courtroom space, as we're in right now, that will be renovated. That will have increased security features on the exterior of it. Improved egress features as well from a safety standpoint. And while we're doing the finish upgrades in that space, you'll see in the video, we're actually reorienting this space. So generally where you're seated right now would be along this wall over here to the left. That actually makes for a more functional plan. It'll get us just a little bit more seating in here that'll be more valuable to you. You've also got some really nice windows behind you that are currently blocked off as well. That'll be able to open that up. So we'll have shading systems, but a lot of times during the day, you'll be able to get good quality natural light into this space, which will also help with energy bills. The bottom level, from a phasing standpoint, this would be phase 1 on the basement level. Everything down there, that would be the first thing that the contractor comes in on day 1 and looks to gut that and renovate that and get it ready as quick as possible for police. On the upper level, again here in brown, this portion of the police would be renovated at the same time as that basement level. So they would be priority 1 to get that up and running as soon as possible. We do have inside these dark dotted lines right here, if I'll zoom in on this a little bit, this area in the center of the plan, that's your current dispatch area. And you've got some police functions right in this area as well. Those are critical to the city's function and operation. So those will be called out that they have to maintain functionality through the use of temporary power provided by the contractor all throughout the construction process. Those spaces will get relocated down into the basement. So they'll be the first ones done and they'll be the first ones to move in with police. That will free up that space to then be renovated, as we said, for those more public functions such as water, engineering, and revenue. Then we'll move into a third phase, which is the HR admin areas, and then come back over here into the green area, which is the magistrate clerk offices, and then down into this courtroom kind of administrative council here. So that's the general phasing of it, all trying to be done in a way that's very economical, doesn't force you to move out of this building and go rent a bunch of space. Trying to bring as much value as we can to that. I'll switch now to the video and continue to talk through these spaces. This, of course, would be if you were standing in the lobby right outside the entrance doors to the admin suite here. We'll start playing this as we walk in. Of course, you'll notice we'll come back outside and spend a little bit more time on that. So I'll talk over the exterior a little bit more later. But right now, what you'll see as we come into this space, this is moving into your current lobby. You will see as we turn this corner, it's going to briefly touch on it, and then we'll come back around. But we're taking advantage of all the natural light that you have in that space already. As you turn here, you'll see those teller lines, very clear public signage that lets you know when you walk in the building, if you're here for water or revenue, where to go. This briefly turns off over to the side. This is going to showcase that conference room that, again, could be used as a public amenity as well. So again, a very multi-purpose space that you could do a lot of different things in there, from day-to-day meetings to, again, the public booking that. Now, as we come back this way, this will spend a little more time through that lobby. Again, you can see the little nooks where people can queue up, not take up a ton of space in the lobby there. The finishes in this space will be very simple but very welcoming. They'll be very low maintenance materials, but things that have a nice pop and feel very modern and updated from this 1960s building that we have. As we round the corner, we'd have a check-in, the clerk magistrate area. And then you'll see as we round this corner, this would be a brief view of that security checkpoint before you come into the space that we're in now. And as we enter here, you'll see the reorientation of everything off to my left over here, these windows being what's behind you right now. So again, oriented facing this way. A nice public forum there. All of this actually orients in a nice way too, that it will access directly to judges' quarters, clerk, magistrate, as they need to come and go. Very secure spaces that they can easily flow between those two. And again, energy efficient. We're taking advantage of the lights there. As we come back around here, we'll spend a minute on the exterior as we come back outside as well. This is a space that we think, has a lot of opportunity with some of the upgrades that we'll be doing out here. Of course, there's a cosmetic appeal to it. That it just simply, beautifies the building, makes it more appealing from the curb, of course. This is mostly done in an economical way through largely a paint job to a large majority of the building, but the focus on the center portion of the building here would be a metal clad system that goes over the brick veneer that is there now. Nice large branding, so everyone driving down Main Street there knows what this facility is. It's very welcoming. It takes on more of a glass box, very public, open type feel to it instead of being closed off and secluded. That large courtyard area with some minor improvements to it and the lighting upgrades that we'll also be doing, we think that's the type of space that day or night could be utilized for public functions. And that's something that we really want to take advantage of as well. The entire roof of this building will be re-roofed as we're doing this. Barry alluded to this building's got a lot of Frankenstein components, as we call it, between the electrical, the HVAC, and the roof itself. That y'all have definitely gotten your life use out of this building, and so this investment would go a long way to securing that you can use this building for many decades to come. As we round the corner here, this would show you the ground level entrance into the police area. They would now have a defined public entrance over here that would be very visible from the street. So in an emergency situation, if someone needs to find them, that's very clear. Or if someone's coming because they need to do an interview as a witness or someone who's been part of an incident, and those type of public interview settings. So we've got them some nice but simple branding that clearly lets the public know where to come into these spaces. And then the video will stop right here. Again, as Barry mentioned, just to give you a shot of the lobby there, and as people checking, oops, I'll hover back on that for a second, just into that lobby right there. This would kind of be the secure checkpoint. The public couldn't go beyond this point. There are many administrative security storage functions behind that, but again, for public video purposes, we'll hold that there. I'll jump back over here. I know that video goes fast and there's lots to look at in there. So I've got several still shots here just to be able to focus on a couple of these features. Again, that front entrance, really make that, again, kind of warm, public, welcome space, clear defined entries. and to capitalize on the opportunities of that open air space to use that for many public events. By upgrading the look of the building, we will be doing that through, very sustainable methods of louvers and sunshades that upgrade the look of the building, but their primary purpose would be blocking sunlight from coming directly into that big lobby and heating up that space, which forces you to run the air conditioner more extensively in those spaces. So we believe there'll be some energy cost savings to those methods as well. This is looking back into that lobby space again, trying to create something very simple and inviting that lets you clearly know where to go, so that people don't have to get lost in a maze and turn around and look for who they're supposed to be meeting with at any given time. And then again, there's a quick shot of that public conference type space. This is looking back the other angle. We have a dedicated area that could serve if you do want to staff someone in that space, but it would also, even if no one's staffed there, it would serve as that public information booth that you could put a couple of TVs there, have rolling information about upcoming events, how to contact, anyone important with the city for particular topics and things. So very informative type space. And then here's two alternate views again. This one would be standing really where y'all are sitting at the moment, looking back at that wall. And then this view would be back from the door behind me, looking over at where the new podium would be there. And again, opening up all of the lights to the backside there. And then one more view again of that large public space that we think has a lot of opportunity to upgrade that and make that a much more functional space. This is a quick shot of kind of a nighttime view of that exterior. Again, we think this is the type of thing that you could even host banquets and other events throughout the year as a social type space as well. Could even rent that out if you wanted to look into doing that. And then just a final shot there, again, of that entrance to the police department, their clear branding and just making that very accessible for the public. And then their secure lobby space to the interior there. So I know that's a lot to take in, especially with the video there. So I like to kind of just hit it all very quick, high level, but I'll be happy to go back and zoom in on any particular areas that you may have questions about.
Scotty, you got any comments?
This is great. Something he didn't mention, and somebody was asking me about this. The stuff that's right out in front here is going to be moved off to the left as you're looking at the weevils and the stench, the plaque and everything else. But I think it's going to be great, inviting and everything. And then also inside there in the lobby area, I'm sure there's chairs or benches, something people be able to sit, because that was one of the questions too. But I think it's sharp and it's overdue. And this building has served us, like Barry said, 60 plus years, and especially for our police being downstairs. I don't know how many times I've walked in the back and one of the officers is interviewing somebody, right, and I try to go around the other way, and then usually they say, "Come on by," So that'll be great for security for them, especially for witnesses and folks like that. They have to come in.
That's right.
And out of the way of the public. But
yeah, there are
awesome.
There are a lot of aspects of this project that don't show up in a video and in paper. Yeah. And like I said, access controls is there's not a single bit of real access controls on this building
and that
currently.
Little room off conference room, I'm sure that's going to be used by a lot of folks and stuff.
That's right.
That's right. No, let's do it.
Eugene, your thoughts?
I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
I look forward to this happening. I did not see anything in the video, though, which I'm sure you have in your plans, of the area back here with the mayor's office in that area.
Yes, I can jump to that area. So on the plan here, we will be renovating from a security standpoint, as well as adding some functionality. We actually with some of the changes we're making, we actually pick up some additional office and storage space in that area. So the back of house, what's labeled as city administrator office, mayor's office, and his conference room back there, that of course will get the benefit of the lighting upgrades, the HVAC upgrades, all of those things, but not doing major renovations from a finish standpoint in there. But in front of that, in this area right here, you can see we're totally changing the way the receptionist entry works so that they are a control point. They buzz people into that space. And then we're picking up a new office in the corner here, a workroom that will be shared printer copier space, and a little bit of storage, and a unisex bathroom in that space as well that could serve anyone in that area. So gaining, not building on any new square footage, but gaining quite a bit of functional space that you don't have currently in there by making some of these changes.
Sonia?
I like it. It has a real pretty modern vibe to it. I think I saw a screen where it had a desk where it said customer service.
Yes. Let me see if
I like that particularly because a lot of people come in, they don't know, they just kind of stand around. Some people say, look, don't know which door to.
Right.
And so even just to have a person, sometimes they say, I was told I need to go to revenue,
Right.
but this is specifically what I want to ask about, and then that
Mhm.
person can be
Mm-hmm.
can assist with that. So I did like. I thought
We-
I saw that.
We
desk
tried
that
to
said
create,
something.
so this is down in the police lobby, and then this is the view up in the main area. We tried to create a consistent theme that all of those teller windows are very similar. And part of what you're getting when you look at this, you'll notice, that this is one of those things that isn't as obvious at first glance, but another added benefit of the major renovations we're doing here is this building, you don't notice at first glance, but it's got so many various levels where you go from one space and the next one's just 2 feet higher and the next one's 3 feet lower. And so there are a lot of ADA issues in this facility. And so a large part of this, things that you don't see in the video, but they're behind the scenes, we're putting a lot of subtle ramps and things in that allow you to move from, if you walk out that door right over there, it's a 2-foot change just between that wall right there, which is very problematic, for a public building. So this will resolve all of those issues. It'll be completely up to ADA standards from an entrance egress standpoint, as well as within internally in the building. And then again, I'm using this image just because it shows it in a good way. But all of your teller windows, those will be set up in a way as well that they've also got, your high-low windows. So if somebody's standing versus they're in a wheelchair, you're accounting for all of that. So this will be addressing many of those public issues that the building, just at the time it was built, the standards did not address.
Is there a developed site plan at this point as far as what to do back here is there additional parking?
Not at the moment. So in terms of this particular focus of the project, this would be the infrastructure upgrades, majorly lighting, HVAC, a lot of electrical improvements just to be able to handle the data and things that we need to run in 2023, and then restructuring, reorganizing the facility in terms of this.
Gotcha.
You want to speak to?
So one of the things that we're looking at is that grass area just right outside. When we bring the police downstairs, we're in-house. We're going to be looking at designing a parking lot over there. And that way, if we move the police to that area, then we can free up the area behind the building for the staff.
Yeah, I knew
to
that was
park.
in the discussion, but that's not in this bid.
I didn't charge them with it in their contract. I
Yes.
thought that's something we could do in-house, and we could do probably more efficiently and more cost-effective if we handled that in-house. So I kept that in-house.
All right, any other questions? Sounds like there's consensus support for this design. I think I agree. I didn't say it, but I agree. I think y'all have done an excellent job of not only aesthetically, I think doing the best we could with a 60-year-old building, but functionally, which is truly what's important, is serving the community by one way to do that is serve our staff so they can do their job well. And I think the building's been missing the mark on that for some time. So I'm excited about it.
Well, thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to serve you.
You excited, Chief?
Yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah, I know staff was very involved. I would assume they've had ample opportunity to provide feedback and be part of a collaborative process, right?
I know.
And does everybody agree with that statement?
I know
This
our
wasn't something that Riley just went back in his office.
I know our audience will appreciate new chairs too. I mean, or
Yes.
the court folks will have new
A
chairs
little
in there
more comfortable.
instead of 1968. Yeah.
The only thing, I just remind you that we're taking bids on February the 9th, so we'll know a little bit more at that point. Base bid will be downstairs, and then we're doing alternates upstairs for the full build out, just to kind of get our hands around what the numbers would look like. Once we get a contractor in place, we'll have to find out construction scheduling. As y'all know, switchgear, HVAC, all that stuff is taking some serious lead time. So even if we were to bid it and award it in February, it could be later 2023 before we actually get started in construction. So that's something that we will have to tackle once we know who our contractor is.
Okay. All right. Everybody good with that? All right. So we do have one item left on our work session agenda concerning real estate negotiations and litigation update from our attorney. We've got 15 minutes. Is that enough time, or should we? You think we can do that in 15 minutes? Okay. Okay. All right. So I will entertain a motion to go into executive session regarding real estate negotiations and litigation.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, or is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, we'll be in executive session for 15 minutes. We'll return to conduct our business in our open regular meeting.
Hey, Mr. Townsend, how are you today, sir? Some 60-year-old ghost talking.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could everybody's attention. We've got 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that Councilman Pageant is absent. All other members are in attendance this evening. If you would, please stand with me for our opening prayer and pledge of allegiance. Do we have Pastor Austin Ford here tonight? If you could come forward, please. He's going to give us our opening prayer, then I'll lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Yes, please.
Lord, we're very thankful for this day. We're very thankful that we can all gather here in freedom. And God, we're thankful for you today. And we are very thankful for what your son did on the cross for us. And God, we ask that you would help us with this meeting, help us and bless this city, bless our state, and help us to be productive and accomplish everything that we need to accomplish. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, Council, you've got your agenda that is provided in your packet that we discussed in the work session prior to this meeting. I have, in addition to the item we discussed moving earlier, I'm adding an executive session as the very last item after council member comments to continue the discussion that we were just having and ran out of time concerning real estate negotiations and litigation updates from our city attorney. So I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as submitted with the 2 following changes. We're going to move the item on the first page of bleachers, 6 sets for Moose Hope Gym. We're moving that from Parks and Recreation sell on Gov Deals to the prior list, Parks and Recreation items for disposal. And we're also going to add as the last item prior to adjournment an executive session concerning real estate matters and litigation.
So moved with those 2 additions and amendments.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to make those additions to the agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the City Council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request of a member of the City Council. I now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider a street closure extension for College Street. I now introduce and call for consideration of a request from City Engineer, Public Works Director Barry Mott to extend the closure of College Street as noted in the January 12, 2023 email from Stacy Hayes of Navigator International. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in-
Just for the
go ahead.
record, it says it's notice, but it just so that the public knows it is extended to the January 27th was the date that she gave.
That's correct. Isn't that correct, Barry? That was, it says per the email, so yeah, the email is quoted here, but it's January 27th. All right, thank you, Sonia. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, now it's time of the meeting called Privilege of the Floor, which allows any members of the public who are here present this evening to address the council. Is there anyone here that wishes to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to staff reports. Are there any staff reports that you are unable to present us with in the work session? Barry?
I was asked to give a quick update on the TAP grant for the sidewalk project, so I thought I'd go through that with you. I did get an update from the consultant today where we are, and I'd be glad to forward this to you if anybody wants it. They are scheduled to have the environmental compliance complete by the end of January. That's 2 weeks out. 90% set of plans approved, and when I say 90%, they have to go through ALDOT for all their plans. They're scheduled for March the 17th to have 90% set of plans, and the next one is to bid this project June 2nd. So early summer of this year, they'll bid that TAP grant project and complete construction by August 25th. So once they start on the construction, it should not take long. There's a lot of reviews. This money was TAP grant money. So it comes with some ties about reviews and approvals, and a lot of that was environmental. So I did talk to him. He said they did have a conversation end of last week with ALDOT, and they were pleased with where they were, but they wanted to go and get this thing on the street. So this schedule, as I understand it, has been approved by ALDOT.
Tell me that schedule one more time.
Yes, sir. So 90% set of plans be submitted in by March the 17th. Bid would be June the 2nd. Begin construction June 23rd. And construction complete August 25th.
So about a 2 month.
2 months, yes, sir.
All right. Any questions of Barry regarding TAP grant?
I'll be glad to send you this schedule. I just got it today, but I'll send this out as an email to you so you'll have it.
All right. Thank you, Barry.
Yes, sir.
Any other staff reports? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. All right, we'll now review and consider a bid recommendation regarding the Enterprise Multipurpose Recreational Complex, Phase 1. I now introduce and call for consideration of a recommendation from consulting engineer Glenn Morgan to award the bid for the construction of the Enterprise Multipurpose Recreational Complex, Phase 1, to Beasley Construction Services Incorporated in the total bid amount of $3,953,589, which is the base bid plus additive alternative number 1. Other bids received are as follows. Wyatt Sasser Construction, LLC, for $4,071,210.09. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve this bid. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now have a public hearing in consideration of an ABC license request from White Oak Ale House. And I'll call for a public hearing prior to consideration of a request from B&G Partners, LLC, DBA White Oak Ale House for a restaurant retail liquor license located at 1109 Bowlville Circle, Suite 9. This hearing is now open. Is there anyone here to speak for or against? Seeing none, I will now close the hearing, and I will entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now move on to new business. We'll review and consider Resolution 011723 to authorize the police chief to award discretionary bonus payments. I now introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 011723, providing for the authorization of the chief of police to award a discretionary bonus payment of up to $3,000 to sworn peace officers of the city in an effort to retain and recruit. Such bonus payments are not guaranteed and shall be awarded at the discretion of the chief, subject to final approval from the city administrator. Resolution 011723 shall remain in effect until the expiration of the current council's term, at which time it shall automatically expire, or at such sooner time as the council determines. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 011723. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now authorize the mayor to execute a design agreement from Barge Design Solutions for the airport hangar. I call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Barge Design Solutions for the design of an aircraft hangar at Enterprise Municipal Airport, not to exceed $280,201, after review by the city attorney and city administrator. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to execute this agreement. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider authorizing the mayor to execute the hangar agreement with Covington Electric. I call for a motion to authorize the mayor in consultation with the city administrator, city engineer, and city attorney to enter into an agreement with Covington Electric related to the financing of a hangar at the Enterprise Municipal Airport. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to authorize the mayor in consultation with the city administrator, engineer, and attorney to enter into this agreement with Covington Electric. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider authorizing the mayor to execute mutual aid agreement with the U.S. Army Garrison at Fort Rucker regarding fire support. I now call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement on behalf of the City of Enterprise with the United States Army Garrison, Fort Rucker, for the provision of mutual aid in fire prevention, the protection of life and property from fire, and firefighting to include emergency services, hazardous containment and confinement, and basic and advanced life support. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to execute this agreement. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now consider a request of permission to purchase scoreboards from Parks and Recreation. I introduce and call for consideration of request from Billy Powell, Director of Community Services and Recreation, to purchase 3 scoreboards for city baseball fields from Electromech Scoreboard Company at a cost of $13,702. I will note that this is a budgeted item. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve this request from Billy Powell. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mayor, you have a report?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to start by congratulating our new local elected official who was sworn in yesterday, Sheriff Scott Bird and State Service Josh Conrad. We wish you all the best and success in your new role. You have seen the demolition of some of the downtown buildings that were damaged by the fire in October. West College Street from Main to the railroad tracks remain closed. A portion of Main Street may be closed as part of demolition. Drivers are asked to avoid the area and to follow the direction of the Enterprise Police Department. Downtown businesses are open during this demolition. Pedestrians are reminded to use the sidewalk and to only cross Main Street in designated crosswalks. Barricades are set up downtown, and the public is reminded not to cross or move them as they are there for safety. We had the groundbreaking for the new Recreation and Aquatic Center last week. Thank you to our Parks and Recreation Engineering Public Works Department for all of their efforts for that event. The site has been turned over to the contractor and work is underway. We are excited to see this project begin after years of preparation. Baseball and softball registration continues throughout this week. The deadline is January 20th. You can sign up online or in person at the Civic Center. City of Enterprise is hiring. We have an updated list of job opportunities on our website, and we would love for you to join our team. You can also find updated information about what's happening on the city's website, as well as our Facebook page, the City of Enterprise. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Sonia?
Good to see everyone. I just wanted to announce for if you all in the audience know of anybody that could take advantage of this service, and for people that's listening, our online participants, the Coffee County Family Services Center is going to be doing free tax preparation starting today, but it's by appointment only. You can contact their office. There is an income limit. It's 6,000 to 8,000 or less. If you made that in 22, you qualify. And if you're over 65 years old, there is no limit. So this is a free service that's provided to our citizens that they can take advantage of. Just want to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Goolsby?
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight and to remind you it's time for the 6th annual day of service from the Enterprise Oscar Club. The Oscar Club is encouraging all individuals, civic clubs, churches, youth groups, businesses to enhance a service project that will enhance the city of Enterprise. This is March the 18th, so I would like for everybody to please get in their schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and thank you to all our citizens online watching us. If you haven't been by the new skate park down there, you've got to go by and see that. There must have been 10, 12 kids out there and adults utilizing our new half pipe and some of the other neat things they have there. So thank you, Billy, and our Parks Recs for getting that out there. And this was day and night time, so go by and see that. I'd also like to congratulate Arnold Woodham. He was also recognized and as our new coroner for Coffee County. Let's see. I think that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you all for all those updates. One thing I wanted to point out, or a few things I wanted to point out, was while it seemed like a relatively benign and boring meeting, we touched on a groundbreaking of our rec center and aquatic center. We've approved a bid for our PV. I keep calling it the soccer complex, but I realize it's a multi-use, multi-sport complex with volleyball courts, ball fields. We'll have some park features, and we also learned about our city hall renovations and additions tonight, which are much needed and very past due. And we discussed, we approved moving forward with an airport, with a spec building out at the airport, which I am confident will generate some positive economic activity in Enterprise, meaning good paying jobs one day. So lots of exciting things going on in our meeting tonight. So thank you all for that. And thank you all to staff. A lot of hard work went into all these. All we did was sit up here and approve it, but a lot of hard work went into all that. So we're not going to adjourn yet. We got one more agenda item. Under the advice of our attorney, we need to enter executive session to continue our discussion on real estate matters and litigation. So what we're going to do is, assuming that we get a motion, second, and approval of that, we're going to go into executive session for what, Rainer, about 15 more minutes. And then we will return. We do not plan on conducting any business, but we will return to adjourn. So I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. Yeah. Scotty, was it just one resolution?
Thomas, will you call me on that matter tomorrow? We can update then. Thank you.
Sonia, sign this for me real quick. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's it, Ms. Berry. That's it. That's all you got. That's it. There is it. Huh? Okay.
Barry or Thomas, can we keep this rolling until we return?
We did have to come back in here.
Yeah, we need to come back and adjourn. Just follow the rules.
This is 2023 sound, so
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back from executive session. We have no further business, so we will stand adjourned.